All right, so now we'll talk about what we call a negative externality, right? And here we'll look specifically at the model for this. All right, so when we define the negative externality, we said that, hey, we're producing some good or service, right? And this is imposing a cost to a party who is not consuming or producing this good or service. Now here we'll draw a simple, right, supply and demand curve. Okay, we'll draw this demand in blue here. Okay, here's my demand curve and my supply curve. We'll say is right over here. Now this is the supply curve, and we'll also say this is equal to what we call MPC. What does MPC stand for? This is called my marginal private cost. All right, my marginal private cost. So what does that mean? This is basically this curve here. We're only incorporating the cost that the firm actually has to pay for. So my previous, if you think about a factory, for example, right? What are some of its costs? Well, it's labor, maybe it's raw materials. All right, good. Those will all be included under the marginal private costs. Okay, good. These are all costs that the firm has to actually pay for. All right, now we'll say, however, this firm, maybe they go ahead and blow a bunch of pollution into the air. Now, do they have to account for this? Do they have to pay for this? The answer here is no, they don't. So the idea is that if they did have to take all these things into account, they would have higher costs, and basically the supply curve would be over here. Right, and this will abbreviate MSC. And this is basically what we call our marginal social cost. All right, now our marginal social cost, basically we're taking into account all of our private costs plus any external cost. Okay, so right here, private cost plus external cost. Okay, good. Now the idea is that here, this is what we'll call our market equilibrium right over here, right? This is our price in the market here. Now, again, this is our marginal social cost here. Here we're taking into account all private costs plus any external costs. Now, if we were to take into account all of our private costs and all of our external costs, we would produce less, and we would produce at this higher price over here. We'll say this is PE. We'll say this is the efficient price. So basically, this curve here, it shifts up by the amount of the externality. Okay, it shifts up by the amount of the externality here. Okay, so the main idea is that if we're only taking into account our private costs, we produce this much at this price. Okay, once we start taking into account all of our external costs, this shifts our supply curve to the left over here, causing prices to go up and causing quantity to go down here. Okay, good. And this is basically the model here for a negative externality.